energy is contagious, and your own energy is very contagious. So be really, really conscious about what you're talking about and what you're spending your time thinking about, because you speak your life into existence if you believe the words that you're saying. Well, hello there, prosperity seeker, and welcome to another episode of The Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez. I'm thrilled, I'm delighted, I'm excited and honored that you would gift me some of your time today, since that's the only non-renewable resource on this planet. And we're going to have a really wonderful episode today. We're going to talk all about the power of the invitation. And what does that really even mean? We're going to dive into that. But first, if you're listening to the audio version of this episode, be sure you're following the podcast on your favorite app. You can head on over to AllysonChavez.com for free resources and meditations and other things that help you to get into certainty during these uncertain times, let go of the struggle without having to wait for circumstances to give you permission to let go of the struggle, and really reach higher and higher levels of success by leading with your feminine energy and understanding the universal laws and what's really going on around you. We've also got free masterclasses going on from time to time, so check out all of the information out right there. So let's talk about the power of the invitation. Invitation and inviting is actually feminine energy. That it's almost like the seduction energy is an inviting kind of an energy. The flirt energy is also that inviting kind of energy. And I started thinking about this. I do a lot of thinking. I do a lot of pondering. It's because I wake up early in the morning, and that's part of my morning ritual, morning relationship with myself and God, of like, what do I want to experience, and what am I wanting to understand better? And that's the best time for me to be able to get more clarity and more guidance. And this whole idea of the invitation. What have I been inviting into my life lately? And what do we invite into our lives on a daily basis as far as like what we're experiencing in life? Now, in the past, I really prided myself, like true confessions, I really prided myself on like being above mass consciousness, like, if you can't see me, I'm just blowing on my hand and just like, like I'm shining my metal. There was a bit of pride to that, I will admit. And, but over the last year, I have gotten swept away. Just like pretty much everybody has. I've allowed myself to get swept away into, the current and the waves of the day. And until I realized, oh man, I feel like I'm back where I was 4 years ago when everything was falling apart, and that I'm just unavailable to experience again. So how did I get out of it last time? And how can I quickly rise above it this time? The thing that's so beautiful is when we're kind of experiencing patterns, we sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, I thought I was over this. Like when you feel like you've made your peace with money, and then you realize you haven't really made your peace with money yet. You're like, why am I back here? The good news is you're not back there at all. You can't go back there. You're not the same person you were. You have greater understanding. You're in a different vibration. You have greater wisdom. Like there's never ever any going back, but it feels very familiar, because what I realized is that our growth, instead of being like the staircase of growth, it's more like a spiral or a corkscrew of growth. And we can slide up the spiral or up the corkscrew, and we can go down the corkscrew as well. And we kind of do this. I mean, we can really do this on a daily basis, right? But when we're really deliberately and intentionally wanting to go up the spiral, up the corkscrew of success, if we could be like 2 rungs or 15 rungs higher than we were a year ago with whatever issue, let's say money, with that money issue that we had, but it feels very similar because you're on like the same part of the corkscrew. you're just many levels above it, but it still feels very familiar. And then we start getting defeated and frustrated with ourselves. And why am I back here? And you're just not. There's just more cleanup to do. And there's always going to be more cleanup to do as we go along. So celebrate that, because you're going to be able to clean it up faster and faster and more easily as you go and as you continue to progress. So let's go back to this idea of invitations. If we are in a flirting energy, if we're in the feminine energy, how do we actually, what do we do to invite? Well, when we invite somebody, we say, hey, you want to go to dinner with me? Hey, I want to do lunch on Wednesday. Do you want to come? It's just fun. It's this invitation. But what do we invite ourselves to experience each day through what we talk about? Because we invite experiences into our lives on a daily basis by our words. Words are so powerful, especially when you believe them. Actually, really only if you believe them are words really powerful. But if we're inviting ourselves to feel overwhelmed, if by what we're saying, by what we're talking about, by what we marinate in our thoughts every day, we're inviting that experience in, because energy is contagious. Positive energy is contagious and negative energy is contagious. And a negative energy is a whole lot easier to pick up. Like a negative aspect or negative perspective rather is a whole lot easier to pick up than a positive one, just because of conditioning. For thousands and thousands of years, the masses are held down in fear because it's much easier to control a large population of people if they're in fear rather than being empowered. And so it's really easy to talk doom and gloom and don't be too excited about things, because things are going to change. In fact, I remember I live in Salt Lake City and we're always in a drought. Right? I think from the time I was a little girl, we've always been in drought. Well, there was a couple of, 3 or 4 years ago where we weren't in a drought. We'd gotten enough snow, we'd gotten enough rain that the water tables, the reservoirs had filled. But I remember them saying, don't get too comfortable. You still need to conserve water because drought could come anytime. And are they true? Like, do we want to be wasteful with that? No, we still want to be responsible, and we still want to manage our resources. We still want to take care of our resources. But they were like, don't expect this thing to last because even worse is coming. All right. And so we're not even allowed to really even celebrate the good times because we've been conditioned to wait for the other shoe to drop. And that's what I'm talking about with invitations. What experience are you inviting into your life by your words and by what you're listening to and the conversations that you're having? It's one of the reasons why I stopped listening to politics probably 10 years ago. I was never really into politics or the news anyway. But I started getting politically active. I say that with air quotes because I would never consider myself a political activist, but I started getting interested 10 years ago. My husband and I both did. And do you know what we felt that summer as we were listening to talk radio and we were listening to the different candidates? We felt so angry all the time. And we would have a lot to talk about. Don't get me wrong. We'd be like, can you believe what so-and-so said, this politician? Can you believe this policy? And la. We had plenty to talk about, but we both felt angry all the time. We both felt powerless. We felt frustrated. And this was this is probably 15 years ago if I think more about it, because it was before I was really teaching what I'm teaching now. If I had realized that, I would have been like, we need to stop this. And actually we did stop. We went for a summer and then we were like, we can't follow this anymore. We can't follow this and we can't talk about this anymore because of what we were inviting into our life. We were inviting spinning and frustration and lively conversation, but it certainly wasn't a conversation that, you're uplifted by any stretch of the imagination. And so that energy is contagious, and your own energy is very contagious. So be really, really conscious about what you're talking about and what you're spending your time thinking about, because you speak your life into existence if you believe the words that you're saying. I don't know about you, but I am so tired of the level of uncertainty with virtually every part of life right now that I could scream. So I'm hosting a free online masterclass to teach you how to live in certainty no matter what is going on. So you can wake up in peace, you can still hit your goals and feel secure and confident as you go. If you're in, register at the link below. And so this is why a lot of people who are struggling or who are burned out or who are frustrated will speak things like, oh, I live in ease and flow, but they don't believe it at all because they're just pushing all the time and they're in all of that execution energy and they're just frustrated and they're burned out, but they're like, I can't take a break because everything relies on me. So if I actually stop for 2 seconds, it's all going to come crashing down around me. Like raise your hand if that's you. Like that was totally me. And so I could tell myself that I'm not alone to figure things out, but I didn't believe it. And you will speak your world into existence if you'll believe the words that you say. And so start thinking of some things that make you feel uplifted, like I'm powerful. These are such, like, I want to invite feeling powerful into my life. I am capable. I want to invite that into my life. If you followed me at all, I am very connected to God, my Heavenly Father. I am very much a Jesus girl, and I look for the Lord every day in my life. And I used to do that, and I still do to some extent, for comfort and assurance. Like, hey, we're okay. Hey, everything is going to be just fine, and everything's fine right now as well. But I had to start speaking words that I believe. I was reading a book by Joel Osteen, a couple of books actually. The Power of Favor and The Power of I Am are some really fantastic books. And it was interesting because I got these books a couple of years ago and I read them. I'm like, these are really basic books. This is how I live my life. And over this past year, like I've been in the boat with everybody else and like looking at the waves crashing over the deck and been feeling really, really nervous. And again, I'm like, I don't want to be feeling that anxiety. I don't want to be feeling that, lack of sleep and like all of that. What do I want to experience every day? And so God told me intuitively, go pick up that book and start reading it. So I picked it up again and I was like, this is exactly what I need right now. I just felt peace wash over me. And he actually talks about like, what are you inviting into your life by what you speak? And so a lot of people will call these affirmations, they'll call them declarations. I really like the feminine term of invitations. Declaration is very masculine, right? Like, this is how it is. And affirmations is still like, that's so dry to me. But an invitation, what do I want to speak into my life that I can really, really get behind and say, yes, I believe that to a certain extent. God is exceeding my expectations. I love saying that and reminding myself, not trying to convince myself that it's true when I'm not feeling it, but just reminding, oh yeah, God exceeds my expectations. He's always exceeding my expectations. I am able, I am capable, I am equipped. And I've started doing that and just saying that in the mirror. So one of the instructions that God gave me was like, make a list of invitations of things that you want to invite into your life that you want to experience on a daily basis, and drink more water. And every time you go to the bathroom, when you're washing your hands, look at yourself in the eyes in the mirror and say those invitations. And ladies, it's been amazing. Has anything dramatically changed in my circumstances? No, but I understand how this works. I don't need to wait to feel patient and certain and secure for circumstances to change, which is what all the politicians and all of the powers that be want us to do, so that we're in constant fear and we're constantly reaching out for somebody else to save us. All I know, I just need to change me. I just need to change my vibration. And then my circumstances have to change to reflect my vibration, because that's what circumstances are. They're the physical manifestation of whatever you're calibrated to. Such a great conversation, isn't it? So much fun, so much fun. So that's what I'm going to tell you to do as well. Make a list of invitations. What do you want to invite into your life today that you're experiencing? The power, grace, relaxation. What is that you want to bring into your life? Now, if you are having a hard time with this, you're not alone. Let's link arms. Let's link arms together in a free online masterclass that I'm teaching all about certainty and 3 steps to get into certainty even in the midst of these uncertain times. If I could give you one gift and one gift only, it would never be as much money as you could possibly want, because money doesn't bring peace, and money doesn't bring you that deep soul requirement we have of security. What I would give you is certainty. That's the gift that I would give you, is certainty. And I have that gift. I forgot that I had that gift, and God reminded me, hey, you have the gift of certainty, right? So dust that thing off and let's use that gift again. And I'm like, thank you so much. So allow me to give you the gift of certainty as well. But this gift has some assembly required. And so let me teach you how to assemble that certainty, what certainty you're actually after, the results you get from living in certainty. And we're going to break this all down in a free online masterclass that I'm hosting. So click on the link below or go to prosperityapproach.com/free-masterclass, and I'll see you soon. Be sure to join us live, because I'm going to have an extra special super juicy bonus that you are going to want, that is you're only eligible for if you attend live. So we'll see you there. And until next time, remember, prosperity becomes you. Bye-bye.